A calamity called the ruin in the near future forces a reorganization of society. Emotion has been replaced by a black and white worldview in modern society. Genetic engineering is used to create babies. All suffering and struggle have been eliminated to enable peaceful being together. But people have lost their uniqueness as a result of this restructuring, since they are all the same. They tell them there's nothing beyond the weird mist that surrounds the city. Spoiler ahead, watch out. Together with his closest pals Fiona and Asher, a boy named Jonas rides a bicycle to the nurturing center where they can do volunteer work with the newborns. Since all three of them are now 18 years old, they will soon be given a place in the community. While Jonas is worried since he feels different and is unsure of his next steps, Fiona and Asher are looking forward to the ceremony. Nobody is aware that Jonas has the ability to view color at times. The father of Jonas, who has been assigned to the nurturing center, is dealing with a newborn who is still uncertain, meaning he hasn't been placed in a family yet. The baby begins to cry, so Fiona comforts him while Jonas's father says his name, Gabriel. Then the pals walk to the park fountain and do their little ritual of jumping through the tiny waterfall. They confirm to stay friends forever at that moment, regardless of the role they end up assigned at the ceremony. On the day of the ceremony, the chief elder is hosting the ceremony, which is attended by all of the teens. They said farewell to the retiring elders, who are going to be relocated to a retirement facility called Elsewhere. Then infants are paired with a new family, and 9-year-olds get a symbol representing their responsibility. It is eventually time for the teenagers to take on their new duties in the community. Asher is selected as a drone pilot, and Fiona is selected as a nurturer. When Jonas's turn comes, the elder skips him, so he has to watch while nearly every other teen receives an offer, and he doesn't. The elders make a special revelation when Jonas is the only one remaining on stage. In accordance with his ability to look beyond, he has been selected to serve as the next receiver of memory. It also means that he is going to gain complete knowledge of human history in order to safeguard the community and guide the elderly to stay away from the same mistakes. Jonas was left till the end because the elders had to think very hard about their decision. They even stated they could not afford another failure. After the ceremony, Jonas questions his mother about what the elders meant, but she swiftly changes the topic of discussion. Then Jonas returns to his room and activates a chip which educates him more about his new responsibility. He will have to report to the current receiver for training, and after each session, he must quickly get back to his home. All aspects of these lessons must be kept confidential. This role grants Jonas several legal exceptions. He can ask any question without being viewed as impolite, and other than the daily anti-desire injection, he cannot take any medication, particularly those that relieve pain. The following day, Jonas wears his new uniform, which distinguishes him from everybody else. He rides his bike to the edge and reaches a lonesome house where he meets the current recipient of memory. The old man refers to himself as the giver since he will be passing on the memories to Jonas. Jonas discovers a mark on the giver's wrist that looks like the one he has. The giver encourages him to approach closer and takes Jonas's hands, forcing him to have visions. He suddenly feels cold and is taken away as he sees snow for the first time. He attempts to ride a sled nearby and eventually notices a house with a cheerful family singing a Christmas song. Before he can discover more, Jonas reappears in the giver's room. The giver says that there is much more to the universe than people think. In the evening, Jonas's mother notices something unusual about him. At that point, the father returns home with Gabriel since the baby requires assistance to catch up on his development. Jonas discovers Gabriel has an identical mark on his wrist and therefore has the ability to foresee his future. The following day, the giver explains that they are going to learn more about color. He then brings Jonas to another memory, this time allowing him to see a variety of beautiful colors in the sky. This appears to be his first time viewing a sunset. When Jonas returns to reality, he is shocked when he discovers colors in the room, though some of them are still slightly muted. When Jonas glances out the window, he is surprised to find a tree in the mist. Then Fiona discovers Jonas lying on the grass the next morning, observing his surroundings. He's in awe at the multitude of colors he can now see, but Fiona is obviously not understanding. When the teenagers dare to join hands, Asher interrupts and invites them to observe the drone fly. As they make their way to an excellent viewing spot, Asher reveals that he has been noticed elsewhere with his new position. Following that, Fiona and Asher question Jonas about his profession, but he tries to show them a trick because he can't respond. Asher ignores him and returns to his own training, while Fiona does what Jonas says. They take some trays and sit on them, pushing themselves down from the viewing point towards the grass. As they enjoy the experience, the community radio warns the two teenagers that it is impolite to touch someone who is not a member of their family. The giver gives Jonas a number of books to read during a subsequent training session. A map that depicts their universe with a border known as the boundary of memories comes out during the procedure, and Jonas sees it. Jonas understands that all of the world's memories would be released if a receiver crossed the boundary. Jonas is fascinated when the giver shows him his piano in the basement, since he has never heard music before. The giver takes Jonas's hand and he glimpses something else. There's a traditional wedding going on with dancing, music, and food. It's obvious that everyone is content and feels bonded to one another. When he awakens in the actual world, Jonas discovers he is experiencing a range of emotions that he has never experienced before. When Jonas tries to show his sister the way to dance the following morning, their parents become upset over the activities. Unexpectedly, the chief elder offers them a holographic message, questioning if Jonas is receiving the right training. Then Jonas says he sits down and talks with the giver. Then Jonas heads off to training, but he skips the shot by his own will. The chief elder instructs the mother to keep an eye on her son carefully. As the days go by, the giver brings up various recollections from the past. This teaches about ideas like culture, art, and religion, and allows understand how unique individuals can be. The giver says that Jonas is now prepared to experience pain. He holds Jonas's hand and shows him a situation of some poachers killing an elephant, which causes Jonas to cry for the first time upon returning to reality. Then Jonas is unable to sleep that night. He chooses to hold Gabriel's hand and show him a few recollections of animals. Gabriel observes everything, indicating that he will eventually be a receiver. Subsequently, Jonas observes Fiona through the window, and as he falls off to sleep, he discovers they kiss. The next day, Jonas informs the giver about it. The giver describes Jonas's first dream, which combines imagination and reality. In addition, he notes that Jonas is at last getting to experience love. Later on, when Jonas and Fiona go bicycle riding, she tries to ask him about his job, but this time he understands not to do anything unusual and avoids her questions. When Jonas gets to the giver's house the next day, he finds him lying on the floor. The giver attempts to stop him, but it's already too late as he goes to help him right away. In a flashback, Jonas finds himself in the middle of a battleground, with a man who is bleeding to death beside him. Everywhere he looks is death, blood, and violence. Then Jonas pulls the trigger on a weapon purportedly killing someone. When Jonas eventually wakes up, the pain, sadness, and distress he has just gone through shock him. The giver makes an effort to clarify that Jonas wasn't meant to see that just yet, and that the purpose of this training is to specifically avoid starting another war. But Jonas declares he has had enough and that he must leave. Jonas understands he can't simply return to his previous self as he traverses the park, because he has gained knowledge that has altered his perspective on everything. When Asher tries to check on him after noticing his strange behavior, Jonas ignores him. He does, however, respond when Fiona comes up to him and says he is considering leaving his work and that he stopped taking his injections. Fiona is invited to meet Jonas tomorrow at the fountain, and he recommends she not continue taking the injections as well. When Jonas later visits the giver's home, he finds him in the basement, where he is looking at Rosemary and an earlier version of himself playing the piano. The giver reveals that Rosemary was his daughter and was supposed to serve as the next recipient. It was too much for her to bear when he brought up a memory of a mother losing her kid. Rosemary told the elders on the next day that she had resigned and had been moved elsewhere. The giver shows Jonas a hologram about the truth. As Jonas's father shows up, he is holding two infant twins. He then takes one of the babies into a separate room and gives it an injection on the baby's head. Twins are always separated, and one ends up elsewhere, which is essentially another word for execution, because society only recognizes that there can be one of the something. Those who were retired and sent elsewhere are no longer alive. The giver says that because people have never experienced death, they are unable to understand that concept. Later, when Jonas gets to the fountain, he discovers Fiona is not feeling well. She reveals that she didn't take the shot, which explains why she's feeling so many unfamiliar emotions. Comforting her that they will have more amazing things waiting for them, Jonas kisses her. After that, when Jonas returns home and finds Gabriel missing, the mother informs him that Gabriel will be released elsewhere due to the fact that did not pass the maturity test. Now that he understands the true meaning, Jonas rushes to his room to pack his bags. Then he makes his way out via his window and cycles off. Asher suddenly blocks Jonas's path and tells him that it is against the law. Although Jonas tries to convince him that there are higher priority things to worry about, Asher continues grabbing the bicycle in an attempt to stop him. As they fall, Jonas punches Asher, shocking him. Subsequently, Jonas succeeds in breaking free and visits the giver's house to request assistance. The giver is happy to see this act of courage and strength, so together they create a plan. Jonas will take Gabriel to the edge of memory in order to release the history of humanity, and the giver continues to remain behind to assist in guiding people when all of those memories emerge. When Jonas's mother becomes aware of Asher's experience, she informs the chief elder, who then promptly contacts the giver by hologram. Just in time, Jonas hides, and the giver informs the chief elder that he has no idea about where Jonas is. The giver then hands Jonas the map, and while expressing his love for him, offers some experiences of revolutionary moments to give him courage. A message declaring Jonas as a wanted man is played throughout the city. He soon arrives at the nurturing center, where the chief elder orders her men to pursue him. Jonas tells Fiona to accompany him to the restricted floor, stating that he will be leaving the community for good. When they finally locate Gabriel, Jonas asks Fiona to accompany him, but she says goodbye with a kiss since she isn't going to leave her family. Jonas and Gabriel leave with another door as the guards rush into the building at that precise moment. Fiona tricks the guards with an empty cradle while Jonas escapes with a guard's bike. Regretfully, the guards notice quickly and begin after him as well. Jonas moves as quickly as he can, making his way to the edge of the city. The guards pursue him there, but as soon as they see him fall into the mist, they turn back. A telegram informs the chief elder that Jonas has lost over the edge and that the search has been canceled. The elders, not willing to give up, call Asher and Fiona in for questioning, whereupon Fiona receives the injection once more. The chief elder and the guards take out the giver by knocking him unconscious after they discover the video of Jonas explaining the plan to Fiona. The giver awakens to find himself and Fiona in a prison. Asher is instructed by the chief elder to locate Jonas and get rid of him. Jonas, meanwhile, only comes off the bike at night to relax by the fire. The bike eventually breaks down, so Jonas carries Gabriel in his arms and keeps going on foot. Asher locates Jonas, so Jonas begs his pal for trust. With the intention of helping, he drops them off at the river and the boys are submerged in the water. Asher lowers the drone. After he confirms the safety of the two, he informs the chief elder that he has completed his duty. A short while later, Jonas and Gabriel cross the river and head out on their journey. Gabriel and Jonas eventually make it out of the desert and arrive at the snow-capped mountains. The giver returns to the chamber room in which Fiona is being carried to be released, wherein she joins the elders in observation and urges them to put an end to this pointless drama. Jonas woke up at exactly the right moment because Gabriel was crying. He discovers a sled hidden in the snow and, recalling his first memory, sits on it. The two of them swiftly slide down the slope. This makes it easier for them to eventually land at the tower that marks the border. As they pass through the force field, all of humanity's memories are released, allowing him to take action and prevent his father from injecting Fiona with the lethal dose. Jonas and Gabriel locate the house from memory as the city begins to recolor and decide to wait for Fiona. We really hope you enjoyed today's recap of The Giver. Please leave a comment below on what you loved about the movie and why. Be sure to like the video and please don't forget to support our channel by subscribing so you don't miss any amazing content. Until next time, light, camera, action. We look forward to seeing you in our next video.